everyone, welcome to the House of Wellness, and this week it's all about, well, us, Jack.
Why wouldn't it be, Jo? It is, of course, Women's Health Week, and I don't mean to exclude you, Dr. Nick and Das, but it is all about us. But women, we sure do a lot, don't we? Our young kids at home, our ageing parents, we're very busy indeed.
Not going to argue with that at all, Jack, and my beautiful wife, Beck, is literally the superstar of our house. Our whole world would fall apart within an hour, I reckon, Jo, without her there. And I reckon you share the same sentiment, Dr. Nick.
Well, it's true, Das. I mean, there are plenty of blokes who do their fair share of the domestic stuff. I mean, you and me, right?
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
But studies still show that women do way more than us blokes. And along with the life and work stresses, their health can suffer.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we often use that analogy, like on a plane, you have to fit your oxygen mask first so that you can care for those around you. And I think studies show that we often don't put ourselves first and we don't prioritise our health. So it's a really important conversation to have. And today we're going to be revealing the must-know signs of a female heart attack.
We'll also catch up with one of our favourite celebrity chefs, Julie Goodwin, who will serve up a recipe for positive mental health.
And Hines goes Chakradance, whatever that is. Can't wait to find out.
So let's jump right in now with exercises that pack the maximum punch with the minimum amount of movement.
So the latest sports science is that isometric exercises can be an effective way to lower blood pressure. But what are isometric exercises?
Essentially, isometric exercises tighten a specific muscle group for a period of time. They're done in one position and without any movement, like sitting against the wall.
This exercise is a real burner. It works your quads, your glutes, and your calves. It looks simple, but for it to work, you need to get the position right. Nice flat back like you're sitting in a chair. Legs are at 90 degrees, so your knees are directly above your feet. The weight should be on your heels, not your toes.
Hold it for 20 seconds, or a minute if you feel okay. To really get the max benefit, do it 3 times and try to increase each one by 5 seconds. If you want to upscale, try it with a couple of weights.
Without strong quads, you'd struggle to get around, to walk, run, squat, or just get out of a chair. No matter what your age, a wall sit is for everyone. Great for building your strength.
And so is this one.
No equipment required. All you need is a floor and gravity.
Push your forearms into the mat and form a straight line from your head and neck down to your feet.
And then hold. The power of the plank is that it targets every major core muscle.
If you're up for the plank challenge, try one every day for just 1 minute, and you'll see an improvement in your posture, balance, and even your mood. How does that work? Well, planks target shoulders, neck, and back, the stress corners of the body. So as these muscles release, so do any feelings of stress or tension.
While isometric exercises build strength, not body mass, they also have another huge benefit.
They can lower blood pressure. Over time, isometrics can be even more effective than high-intensity or dynamic resistance training or aerobic exercise in decreasing blood pressure.
Not that it means to choose a wall sit or a plank over your regular exercise. Just add them in, as long as you're moving your body every day. And if you spend a lot of time at your desk anyway, maybe forget the chair and try the wall instead.
Anything that lowers your blood pressure, I am all for. But I have to say, planking, my least form of exercise. Not a fan.
Oh, no, I hate it.
I mean, does anybody like it?
No one does. But this week we are, of course, focusing on Women's Health Week. And this year the theme is Grow Your Knowledge. I love that.
Yes, it's about taking control of your own health by making time for those regular health checkups and screenings and to make informed decisions through knowledge.
And one thing that women are being encouraged a lot more is to think about their heart health, because, Dr. Nick, I understand that for men and women, this differs greatly.
Yeah, absolutely right, Das, because while they can still get the classic central crushing chest pain, women's heart attack symptoms can be a bit more vague and non-specific, and plus the women are less likely to seek help when they do experience them.
And whether you're a man or a woman, it's important to look for the signs. And one woman is urging everyone to do just that, to listen to your heart.
It was approximately 2 years ago now. I wasn't feeling great. I was feeling really unwell and I was really feeling nausea. I was just not feeling myself and I didn't know what it was. I kept telling myself, I'll be fine, just get over it. The main symptom was fatigue, feeling unwell. So I went off to my GP and I told him of all the symptoms, and he suggested that I be referred to a cardiologist, and then the results come back that I had cardiomyopathy. It was a shock because you just think, it can't happen to me.
The early symptoms of heart failure are often fatigue and breathlessness, and often people feel they're just getting older and this is life. Sometimes as the symptoms progress, you get swollen ankles, you may feel short of breath if you're laying flat in bed, or wake up gasping for breath because you've got fluid on the lung. You may get abdominal distension and bloating and nausea because your belly's full of fluid. So they're more advanced symptoms, but often people tend to put up with them and think that's just part of getting older. The risk factors that make people susceptible to heart failure are age, which we can't modify, having coronary artery disease or having heart attacks in the past, high blood pressure, diabetes, atrial fibrillation, which is an irregular heartbeat, sleep apnea, obesity. So all of the diseases that we are commonly seeing as people get older are risk factors for heart failure. There are patients who have heart failure, which is what we call familial, which means it's inherited and runs in the family. They're often younger patients who may have very healthy lifestyles and they've done nothing wrong, but they've inherited the genes that give them heart failure from their parents.
I've made sure that my boys go and get tested on a regular basis, every 12 months to 2 years. I try and encourage them to live a healthy lifestyle. That's important, but because it runs really strongly throughout our family history, they do have a 50% chance. So I don't want my children to get that. So I encourage them to do all the right things and go and get tested.
Heart failure is not uncommon and can cause serious illness if it's not picked up and treated early. So if you have breathlessness, if you have nausea and abdominal swelling, swollen ankles, and in particular just fatigue for no apparent reason, this could indicate heart failure. So I'd really encourage you to see your GP, to get checked out, to make sure that you're not developing heart failure, because if it's detected early and treated well, we can often stop it progressing to more severe disease over time.
Of course, we know exercise is good for heart health, and here's one you can do with your pooch. Das, I know you don't love a plank. What about sit-ups?
Well, some around the corner, Joe. I seriously need to start doing some sit-ups, but I can't admit to be doing a lot at the moment.
All right, well, I'm talking 41 sit-ups to be exact.
41?
Yes, the Lost Dogs Home in Victoria putting out the challenge to do 41 sit-ups every day for the month of September for the 41 lost or abandoned dogs they get every day.
It's called Sit Up for Strays. How cute is this? And I love this because who doesn't adore a dog or a cat in need? And the money's directly going to the dogs that we adore.
I thought I was doing quite well doing 30, and that seems I've got to do an extra 11. But my dogs, Sam and Rosie, they won't mind because it means they can get an extra little lick in.
Yes, we do love our dogs here, and I would love to get down and do that with my dog Daisy, but she would sit on me because a Labrador apparently is a lap dog.
There's a big push on for a rescue animal in our house to join Dennis, but not quite there just yet. Hey, coming up, MasterChef Australia winner Julie Goodwin is bringing people to the table, this time for mental health. We'll be back right after this.
We talk a lot here, Das, about the fact that the world is getting kinder and that somebody somewhere is performing a random act of kindness every 2 minutes. And now it's been proven that being kind is actually really great for our mental health.
Love sharing these stories of kindness, Joe, and there's a trial underway in the US of a drug-free way to try and help anxiety and depression. Things like buying a coffee for a stranger is really impactful, or even baking a cake for a neighbour, Joe. Simple things that make you feel better.
With really positive results. People who did those things reported feeling more positive emotions and social connections. So it seems being kind really does make us happy.
Now, I think you're going to enjoy this one, Joe. A study conducted at the University of Zurich a few years back discovered that women are naturally more selfless than men. They found that our brains work differently and that women are motivated by a lot more of wanting to help other people, but men are intrinsically a touch more selfish, which I'm finding a little bit disturbing, Jo.
Well, do you know what? Given we started the show talking about how women don't prioritise their own health, maybe we need to learn a little bit of that selfishness ourselves, and you could learn some vice versa from us.
Yeah.
How about that?
Fair trade.
Yeah. Well, one of our favourite celebrity chefs and someone who is known for her kindness is winner of MasterChef Julie Goodwin, and now she's bringing people back to the table to share their experiences with mental health.
Julie, huge confession. I've
Yeah.
actually never, ever made a chicken cacciatore in my life.
You haven't?
Never. So I'm keen to watch along and learn how to make it from the master.
Oh, it's so simple, and it's a really good budgetarian dinner too. So it's chicken, whatever cut you like, seasoned flour, and then we've got onions, garlic, oregano, olives, tomatoes.
I love it. Also, the minute I heard you were making chicken cacciatore, it reminded me of my mum, and I think we also relate a lot of food memories to family.
Yep.
And I find that mum cooking for 4 boys,
Yeah.
she would do anything that was a bit of a one-pot wonder.
Yes.
What do you find? Is there pressure at home being that you are actually a master chef? do the hubby and the kids, do they expect fine dining? What are they expecting?
No, I don't think they even particularly like fine dining. They like big food, big flavours, plenty of it. It's got to be warm and hearty, and, yeah, I mean, you wouldn't want your mum to give you fine dining either, would you?
No way.
That's not mum's job.
Julie, tell us, what is the Big Blue Table?
So the Big Blue Table is a fundraiser for Beyond Blue, and what it is it's to gather everybody together around a table to have a conversation. So it's specifically to talk about mental health and to check in with one another, and to do that in an environment that makes everybody feel safe and everybody feel comfortable.
What's your favourite thing to cook for yourself?
I like stand and stir things, like where you can just be at the stove and just, thinking and doing it, just peaceful time, So I love risottos, I love curries, I love things that just need to be attended to. And, yeah, gravy. I love making gravy because it's a stand and stir thing, but also I know that whatever dish I'm making that involves gravy is going to go down really well.
What attracted you to the campaign?
Oh, look, everything about it. So for a start, I've always admired Beyond Blue and the services that they provide to Australians, to so many Australians. But the idea that we would bring all that to a meal, I think that serving a meal to people and talking around a table is one of the most important things you can do. It's always been the most important part of my day with my family, where we can talk about the highlights of our day or the things that we're struggling with. It's where so much honesty and openness and communication happens. So when Beyond Blue came to me and said, this is what we want to do for our fundraiser, count me in, I am there. I'll get you to pass me that plate, please, Luke. I'm just going to pop this out while I make the sauce.
Beautiful. Food has always been such an integral part of your life. Pre-MasterChef, what was your food story? How did it allow you to connect with those around you?
Well, I think that my cooking story really only started when I was a grown-up. Obviously I grew up in a household with a mum who loved to throw parties, and so there was always a lot of happiness around those tables loaded with all that good 70s gear, And when I got my own house, I just really wanted to continue that gathering of people. That's what I really loved about it. And the food was something that we all had in common. We all got to eat. But you look across any culture in the world and all the important occasions, they all centre around the food. And so we all need it. But I think it's more than that. I think it actually gives you a reason to bring people together.
Do you have a fond childhood memory of a cake or a meal that really used to fill your soul growing up?
Yeah, look, when I was a kid, and this might shock you, lamb was the cheap meat.
Lamb was?
Lamb. When I was growing up, lamb was what people ate. Well, when my mum especially was growing up, lamb they ate every day, and chicken you had at Christmas time.
What?
So this is before the intensive sort of factory farming of chickens, and lambs were a lot cheaper to raise. So, but when I was a kid, you didn't have to take out a mortgage to have a lamb chop. And my favourite dinner when I was little was crumbed cutlets. So, and we didn't get that kind of gear much because Mum was pretty health conscious.
Yep.
So when we did get something that was crumbed and deep fried or shallow fried, we were in heaven.
Crumbed lamb cutlets,
Yep,
yum.
my fave. Food doesn't just nourish your body and your blood cells and all the systems that we have in here. It nourishes your soul, it nourishes your spirit, and similarly, it nourishes a community. So when people gather together, that's a community, and we have things in common, and we have, you know, things that we can share, that we can talk about. I honestly believe that if all the world leaders were to throw a potluck and they had to bring a dish and explain to everybody else at the table what that dish meant to them, and then they all shared that food, gee, I think we'd go a long way towards solving a lot of problems. And I think at a family level, at a community level, at a social level, I think that it works the same way.
What I love about this recipe, Julie, economical cooking in this time is what families are looking for. They want to feed a lot of people for a little amount of money.
Absolutely. And, you know, that's a real stressor in families at the moment, is that the cost of living is really hard, really hard. So, you know, and I've always been a budget-conscious cook, you know. When I had 3 little tiny boys and a reasonably new mortgage, and, you know, we were one income for a while because I was at home with them, and it all came down to what you could afford to put on the table. And that's part of why I learnt to cook, because if we were going to eat yummy food, I had to figure out how to make it with not very much. So I'm always budget conscious. And this is a really budget conscious dinner, but you wouldn't know it when you sit down to eat it.
Yeah, do you think there's a lot of people out there who underestimate the power of food when it comes to their mental health?
Oh, look, I think everyone's raised in a different way, and everyone has different views about the role that dinner plays in your day. You know, some people eat for fuel. I'll never understand that. I mean, it fuels me, yes, but that's not my reason for cooking. I cook for joy and for connection. And so I do. I think it depends on how you're raised. For some people, food is not a celebration, and for some people, you know, mealtimes have a lot of angst around them and even trauma around them. But what I would say is it's got the power to heal. So if you can be exposed to the idea that sitting down for a meal with a group of people can be a healing thing, then maybe it can become a healing thing for people who don't think that way now.
Cheers, everyone.
Cheers. Thank you for
having us, Julie.
Dr. Nick, I love how Julie says she's never understood the concept of food as fuel. Like, we love food, we love to taste it, and don't you think in some ways our mood determines what we cook and what we eat?
Well, I couldn't agree more, Jack, and I believe that the best thing is the secret ingredient to make any dish delicious, and that's a dollop of love. When it comes to foods for happiness, researchers are divided between whether it's yellow foods like bananas or things like chocolate. But I think what we can all agree is that the best food for mental health is full of fresh veggies and fruit and that sort of stuff.
Well, look, I love that you've put chocolate in there. I think that's very important. Up next, Hines goes Chakradance. And yes, Nick, I didn't know what that was either before now.
Plus, we solve one of life's great debates. Should we pee standing up or sitting down? I didn't even know that was a debate.
Well, I'm intrigued.
So we've uncovered a few differences between men's and women's health.
Yes.
Now, bear with me here, Jack, for a moment.
Oh, we are.
I think it's universally accepted that men stand up and women sit down. Is that
To what?
to have a pee?
Yes.
Well, I certainly don't stand, that's for sure.
Well, they've done a study on this, Jack, in Germany.
You've looked into it.
And they are saying that 40% of men now sit down. 25% of Aussie men sit down to take a pee.
Well, apparently it's younger blokes who are taking a load off in the loo, whereas the older generation who were surveyed, they still stand. So it's the millennials, and my theory is it's because they want to sit and scroll on their phone.
Oh.
That's why.
Well, from a health perspective, whether you stand, sit or squat, from a bloke's point of view, makes no difference. Whereas women, I'm sorry, you're anatomically designed to have to sit.
And the same survey advised against peeing in the shower, A, because it's gross, and B, because it can train you to associate the sound of running water with needing to go.
That's true. Put me near a waterfall. I've actually got a waterfall near us today, so I'm not going to go over there. And I'm done.
Yeah, it's all about learning to relax the right muscles at the right time.
Which is something Hines is looking to do right now in his quest for great health.
I think many of us are looking for ways to kickstart our bodies and minds, to really tap into our creativity and imagination and to hold on to that energy we experience after, say, a great workout or when something magical happens that really lifts our mood. They say that music and dance can kindle those feelings. So today I'm going to experience a special kind of dance that is designed to awaken the soul.
Okay, Luke, so we're just going to begin with a very short meditation, just a couple of minutes, so that you can let go of the rush of getting here and what you've been doing before and just really arrive here into this space.
Nat, you created Chakradance over 20 years ago. How did it come about?
Well, I wasn't always into this kind of work. I actually was in the corporate world for many, many years. I used to work in advertising, and it got to a point where I started to search. I thought there's got to be more to life than this. And I was living in London and I came across a place called the College of Psychic Studies. And as I walked through the doors, I was like, I felt like I was coming home. And that's when I started to learn about the chakras. I ended up working in a clinic. I then came across the work of Carl Jung, Jungian psychology, because Jung was one of the first Westerners to bring the Eastern map of the chakras into the Western world. So I trained as a Jungian psychotherapist, and all of that led me back to my childhood passion of dance. And that's where this whole kind of combination, this fusion of dance and music and creativity all came together, and kind of Chakradance was kind of born from there. And now bringing the white light down into your chest as you begin to roll back your shoulders.
Let's break it down in its simplest terms based on its name. Chakra dance. What is a chakra?
So to understand what a chakra is, I think it's really important to know and remember that we're more than just a physical body, that we have this energetic body, or what's more commonly known today as the aura. And this aura is a mass, like a matrix of all of our different energies. So it's our emotional energy, our mental energy, our sexual energy, our spiritual energy. And basically the chakras are like the power centers of the aura. And now just twisting from side to side. Imagine sending that white light down through your spine. We've got 7 major chakras, and they're located in a vertical column along the spine. And each chakra influences the health of different body parts and different organs and an endocrine gland, which actually helps link it to Western medicine. And each chakra influences a different aspect of our lives as well.
And how does this link then to dance?
Well, Chakradance is about dancing our chakras, and actually the key to this is actually through the music. So all of the music of Chakradance has been composed to resonate to the frequency of each chakra. It's like a form of vibrational medicine. So with the dance, what we're doing is we dance with our eyes closed in a dark room, and it's about going within and surrendering to the music. So it's not set steps, it's not performance, there's no sort of, structured Chakradance like a tap dance. It's actually your free form expression, much like children would do, to actually release and connect with these different parts of who you are. And this is a tribal, raw, primal dance, connecting deeply in with your legs and with your feet.
When I say the words ballet, people have a very clear vision in their head about flexibility and posture. And then when I say tap, people go, yep, all right, tap shoes, high intensity. How would you describe Chakradance then, the energy of it or the pace?
It's different for each chakra, okay? Each chakra is almost influenced by a different kind of theme. So the base chakra is very tribal. It's very earthy. It's very animal-like. The music's like very percussive and, didgeridoos and African drums. The sacral's very belly dancey. It's like you are like a wild gypsy, like dancing, doing a belly dance move, as you say. And for men and women, it's connecting to that inner feminine, but you do feel like it's a belly dance that you're doing. Moving your hips with wild grace.
What are you hoping to achieve throughout a session? What are you trying to help me feel or unleash or release?
Some people come to Chakradance just as a way of releasing stress, okay? Look, we're all stressed, aren't we? Let's face it. But ultimately, the real purpose of Chakradance is for this deep healing. You know, we all store emotions in our bodies and in our energy centres, okay? It might be the anger that you never expressed, it might be the grief that you never processed. And what we do with them, if we don't express them, we bury them. And now you find yourself dancing in a crystal chamber.
I'm curious as to whether it's one class and I'm sorted or I come regularly. What's the feedback?
Well, absolutely always come and try one class, and amazing things can happen in one class, but ultimately it is a practice. You know, it's a movement therapy modality. You know, if you have got 40 years of emotional baggage you're carrying, you're not going to come and unleash all of that in one class, you know. That wouldn't happen anyway because it's a Jungian-based therapy, so it's a very gentle and safe process. But it is the more you do, the more you come, the more you release. And now bringing your hands to your heart in prayer position. Just resting them at your heart.
Wow. Now that was quite the experience, and that's coming from someone who is very open to the various modalities. Now, I am a big believer that our physical is entwined with our mental. Now, what I loved about this experience is it enabled me to block out any distractions and to tune in to that connection following those verbal cues. I was moving in a way that I've never moved before, but also feeling things that I didn't know were there. If you're feeling stuck and you're not sure what to do, this could be the modality to get your heart pumping, your head racing, and your soul thriving.
I tell you, I love a bit of a boogie. There is nothing that lifts my soul more than pumping up the tunes and dancing around in my kitchen. I'm sure you're the same, Das.
Well, I married a dancer. Unfortunately, none of her rhythm has been passed my way. Yeah, Joe, I wish I had a few moves.
Well, I love how a song that you love, you instantly feel like you can remember the lyrics straight away. It's almost like they're imprinted in your brain, isn't it?
Yeah, well, music really is magic, Jack, because it triggers the release of 3 really powerful chemicals: oxytocin, serotonin and dopamine. And these help work the brain so that it reduces things like stress, improve memory and help you feel better.
And I think that's why some people fall asleep listening to music, because it puts your mind's attention on something much more relaxing and joyful than the worries of the day.
Yeah, and music also has other benefits, Joe, because it's been shown that music can help program the brain better so that you recall things better, sharpens your focus, especially when doing complicated tasks.
I know for me, when I forget my headphones, I realise how much I need music to get through the day, Das.
I'm with you on that, Jack. And speaking of getting through the day, Hines and Zoe up next with a nuts versus seed challenge you don't want to miss, next on the House of Wellness.
The mani-pedi is a simple beauty routine with a big impact. There's a reason it's been around for over 5,000 years. But with salon prices going up and our free time going down, it's time to take matters into our own hands. Get it? For perfecting your nails like a pro, the Finishing Touch Flawless Salon Nails is an easy-to-use electronic mani-pedi tool. 6 interchangeable heads provide a complete nail care solution: shaping and filing, grinding and smoothing, buffing and shining, plus cleaning your cuticles. It has an LED light for total precision and 2 speeds for ultimate control, giving you a salon quality finish without having to leave home. When it comes to embracing those open-toe shoes, there's also the Finishing Touch Flawless Pedi. It removes unsightly calluses, cracked dry skin and rough areas with instant and painless results. Choose from either a fine or coarse roller, depending on your needs, and use it on the heels, toes, sides and balls of your feet. Nail care is about more than just the end result. It's about the relaxation and the pure satisfaction of the whole experience too. Nothing should get in the way of that feeling and looking flawless from head to toe.
Sarah Davidson there on how to get great feet and nails. And Dust, I must admit to going getting a pedicure before last week's episode when I had my feet red. Still recovering.
You'll never, ever have to do that one again,
Thank you for
Jack.
that.
So I'm sure you're happy about that. Now, let's move from our feet to the top of our heads and hair. Now, we're pretty unique mammals, us humans, Jack, where 90% plus of our hair is actually on the top of our head. We don't really have hair in any other parts of our body.
Not really.
Not really. Without getting too intimate about it all.
That's right. So I'm really glad to have a full head of hair on cold mornings like this because we have heat that escapes from our scalp and our hair stops it from getting out.
And hair plays a pretty vital role in protecting us from UV rays as well. And some more research around the importance of hair for keeping moisture in on our scalps to keep us cool, Jack, especially for those with curly hair.
The curlier, the better, Dust.
That is a good point, Jack, and I'm pretty happy to be hanging on to my hair at this stage, but there is always a vitamin-D beanie if I get into trouble. I look forward to getting one of those every year.
You do have a good head of hair and a vitamin-D beanie is a great idea. Up next, two people who don't have curly hair. It's Hines and Zoe who are going crazy for nuts.
Whether you're a runner, yogi, dancer or gym goer, there is no arguing the benefits of moving your body every day, Zoe. But in order to do all of that and more, we need to make sure we maintain our muscle health.
Which is why we're whipping up some muscle-loving recipes today in our Nuts versus Seeds challenge. I'm making some homemade seed crackers with my beautiful tomato salsa.
I'm giving the humble platter a glow up with my creamy cashew dip. But what nuts and seeds both have in common is that they contain a nutrient called magnesium.
It's the nutrient for muscle health, one of only 7 essential macro minerals that we need in large amounts.
And if our balance is out, our body will tell us. We may experience spasms, cramps, even tightness.
That's because magnesium helps to support muscle contractions and muscle relaxation.
You might even feel really tired if your magnesium levels are low.
But Luke, you may be able to restore that energy with the right foods.
Magnesium isn't just found in nuts and seeds. You can also get it from green leafy vegetables, bananas, avocados, even whole grains.
And we can also find magnesium in supplement form, providing additional support where your dietary intake isn't adequate.
Look for one designed for maximum magnesium absorption, plus B vitamins to assist with energy levels.
Oh, I love it. Now, how are we going to move our body today?
I'm thinking a dance off. You start, and the dance is Nutbush.
I've got it. Nuts and seeds. I love it. Oh, good one.
Get Nourished is brought to you by Bioceuticals Ultra Muscle Ease for specially formulated muscle support. Found exclusively behind the counter. Ask your pharmacist for Ultra Muscle Ease.
Like so many of us, I'm no good with pain, but sadly, it's an unavoidable part of life. Aches and pains are incredibly common and can interrupt our daily flow, whether it's muscle and body aches, mild joint pain, or consistent overall soreness. There is an increasing number of people who are hesitant to rely solely on traditional pain medications, especially with less severe pain, which has led to a growing demand for naturally derived pain relief options. From the makers of Panadol, the Pana Natural range uses naturally derived plant-based actives to help manage mild pain. Pana Natural Muscle has a dual active formula that is scientifically tested to help relieve mild muscle pain and soreness. It features curcuminoids, which are the active component in the turmeric root, and boswellia, which is the active herbal extract from the serrata tree. The range includes options that help relieve mild joint pain, as well as pain that affects sleep. Regardless of your specific situation, there is no need to endure mild pain. Choosing a naturally derived, plant-based alternative can help us get back to the things we love in life sooner.
Right now, it's Women's Health Week, but the first week of September is also about another really important cause, Nick. It's Spinal Cord Injury Awareness Week, which supports more than 20,000 Australians living with spinal cord injuries. Well, this really important week is all about inclusion and accessibility, and we have come a long way, especially for wheelchair users, but there's still a long way to go.
Yeah, well, we could start by making it a bit easier for wheelchair users by not leaving our garbage bins and e-scooters on the footpaths. The research is also really important in how to help or even to cure paralysis.
Well, Melbourne Spinal Research Institute is dedicated to making those positive changes happen and to smashing down the barriers that are standing in people's way.
It's estimated that the number of people with spinal cord injuries in the community is about 21,000, and there's one new case in Australia every day. The Spinal Research Institute was founded specifically to promote research to improve their health, well-being and community participation. Spinal cord injuries affects all body systems: respiratory, gut, sexual function, bladder, skin, bones, muscles, cardiovascular, everything. So no research body can deal with all of those issues and problems and consequences. Spinal cord injuries needs to become more efficient, and the only way it can become more efficient is for pilot studies to become collaborative, big studies more quickly. And the only way to do that is to develop a communication between researchers around the world, which we're doing through the Spinal Cord Research Hub. We have a program for community engagement in research that's headed by a person who has an incomplete quadriplegia. In fact, it's pretty complete. He is teaching people about the research process and how research can be done that they are interested in and they want to participate in, and how to make that protocol practical. We've got a group of people who really are restricted in their ability to get involved in the community, not just in work, but in every area of life. You know, life is of less involvement than it should be and they would like. And so our aim is to get the research that will change that and bring them to be a full part of society with a full quality of life and enjoyment, and not be restricted like they are now. The Spinal Research Institute website has all the information about what we do, how you can support us by spreading the word and by donating if you are able.
So we did briefly cover this next topic with breathwork expert Johannes Egbert. It's the subject of breathing through your mouth while you're sleeping. And I can tell you this is all over TikTok because my daughter is 14. Oh. The viral trend of mouth taping.
It is exactly what it sounds like. It's taping your mouth so you breathe through your nose, and it's had a staggering 40 million views on TikTok.
There's a lot of research into the benefits of nasal breathing and increased sleep, less snoring, less brain fog. I'm looking at you, Dr. Nick, and there's a bit of look in your eye about this one.
Well, my short answer is, what? I mean, do you remember those nasal strips that sports people and science all the rage a few years ago?
That's right.
Don't see too many of those around these days. I suspect that mouth taping will go the same way. But also remember, if you've got something like sleep apnea, it could be risky, so do be careful.
Well, you know what? People will do anything to get a good night's sleep, right? So I've seen other crazy tips, or, I don't know, they might work. Curling your toes, no. Doing a headstand, would that work? No? OK, or what about challenging yourself to stay awake as long as you possibly can as some kind of strange reverse psychology?
Yeah, look, but anything that works for you is just fine by me. But my top tip for a good night's sleep is that sleep loves a routine. So mine is shower, teeth, read, sleep. And no screens in the bedroom.
I'm very lucky one of those people. As soon as my head hits the pillow, it is lights out. Drives Beck insane.
Yeah, I'm very
I'd say
jealous.
because I've got a clear conscience. That's all we've got time for today on the House of Wellness.
Wanderlust True North is fast approaching. Tickets are still available. If you'd like to get the latest in mindfulness and wellness, you can head along.
It kicks off in Melbourne on September 16, then goes to the Gold Coast on the 21st of September, and then in Sydney on the 23rd.
Always good to be with Dr. Nick Carr, to Jacqui Felgate and to Joe Stanley, and to our friends at Chemist Warehouse. Thanks as always. We'll see you next time.